Hello. In this video, we will discuss opportunity costs and the production possibility frontier. If you recall from our last video, we talked about opportunity costs and how they are a very important component of economics. When we make a specific decision, that decision comes at a cost, the cost of what we've given up to make that choice. That is our opportunity cost. Today, we're going to apply the concept of opportunity costs to the production possibility frontier. The production possibility frontier looks at the combination of goods that can be produced given all of the available resources in an economy. Specifically, it looks at the resource allocation in an economy between the production of two goods. To produce more of one good, we will need to produce less of the other. So, let's look at the PPF curve. Here you can see on the x-axis we have good x, and on the y-axis we have good y. The PPF curve represents the possible production points of some combination of good x and good y. Along the PPF curve, such as points A, B, and C, we're using all of our available resources for production. These are considered efficient points of production. If we think about a point such as point D, we are producing inside the PPF curve, and we're not using all of our available resources. This would be an inefficient point of production. We could produce more simply by using all of our resources. And lastly, a point such as point E would be impossible. We simply do not have enough resources to produce at this point. The only way we could get to point E would be to have more resources available in our economy. So let's look at a numerical example here. Let's consider an economy that produces two goods, leather boots and leather jackets. Here we have the combination of production points of boots and jackets and the allocation of resources to the production of each of them. We want to be able to draw the PPF curve based on these numbers, calculate the change in the number of boots and the number of jackets as we move from one point to the next, and understand what this tells us about opportunity cost. So let's start. As you can see in this graph here, our PPF curve, this is plotting the points that we see in the table. Point A, B, C, D, and E. What we see is that as we produce more boots, we need to produce less jackets because we have scarce resources in our economy. Specifically, from point A to point B, 20 more boots means that we have to give up 10 jackets. Moving from point B to C, 20 more boots means that now we have to give up 20 jackets. Moving from point C to D, 20 more boots means that we have to give up 30 jackets. And from point D to E, 20 more boots means we give up 40 jackets. We see that the movement along the PPF curve represents the opportunity cost of producing more boots. What we see is that opportunity cost rises the more abundant production we have of boots. So what we see is that the opportunity cost rises to give up more of the good that is scarce. So the more boots that we have, the higher the opportunity cost to produce an additional boot, because we are scarce in the number of jackets that we have. We don't want to give up even more jackets to produce an additional unit of the boot if there's already a lot of them. On the other hand, the opportunity cost is low when the good is relatively abundant. So when we have a lot of jackets and few boots, the opportunity cost to produce an additional boot is going to be low because we already have a lot of jackets. So now, what happens if we have a change in resources? Let's say that we have a shortage in rubber. Rubber is used relatively heavy in the production of boots and not quite as much in the production of jackets. One of the reasons why we have a bowed out PPF curve is because of this specialization in resources. Yes, we can use all of our resources in the production of both goods, but some resources will be better in the production of one good rather than the other. For example, rubber. So if we have a shortage in rubber, what we observe is that we have a biased shift of the PPF curve. At the maximum, boots will be more heavily affected by this change in available rubber than jackets will. we see that at the maximum, we move from a point such as point A to a point such as point B. So that if all of our resources are going to the production of boots, at the maximum, we can produce less boots if we have less rubber available. So when we think about the shift in the PPF curve, we need to identify which of the goods is going to be relatively more affected, or will they both be affected equally? And then we need to decide at the maximum, will there be an increase or a decrease in the amount of goods that can be produced? Thank you so much for joining me in this module on opportunity costs and the production possibility frontier.